Everybody wants success. Everybody has dreams. But here's the cold hard truth. Dreams don't pay the bills. Dreams don't build empires, and dreams alone won't change your life. The world is full of dreamers, but the winners, they're the ones who wake up and do something about it. Too many people sit around talking about what they wish they could do. They visualize, they fantasize, they plan for someday, but someday never comes. You know why? Because they never take the leap. They wait for the right moment, for more confidence, for perfect conditions. Let me tell you something. Success doesn't wait for you to feel ready. The people who win in life are the ones who take massive action now. They don't wait, they don't hesitate, they don't make excuses. Do you know what separates those who succeed from those who don't? Discipline, consistency, and the ability to push through even when it gets hard. Because trust me, it will get hard. The path to success is paved with obstacles. You will fail, you will fall, you will doubt yourself. But here's the difference. Champions don't stop when it gets tough. They push harder. They find a way. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. If you keep feeding it doubt, fear, and hesitation, guess what? You'll stay stuck. But if you program it with focus, belief, and unstoppable drive, you become a force of nature. The moment you stop seeing failure as the end and start seeing it as feedback, you unlock a level of power most people never tap into. And let's be real, most people never make it because they drown themselves in excuses. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right connections. I don't have the skills. Stop lying to yourself. Every excuse you make is another chain keeping you locked in the same place. The minute you drop the excuses and take ownership of your life, that is the moment your success story begins. So stop dreaming, stop wishing, stop waiting, get up, take action, and make it a reality. Dreaming is the spark, it's the vision, the idea, the thing that keeps you awake at night thinking this could be my life. It's powerful, it's exciting, and it feels so real in your mind that you can almost taste it. But here's the problem. Most people stop there. They get addicted to the dream. They fall in love with the fantasy of success, the idea of being wealthy, fit, powerful, or admired. They picture themselves winning, but they never step onto the battlefield. And that's why most people never make it. Success doesn't come from dreaming. It comes from execution. Think about the millions of people who say they want to be rich but never invest in learning how to build wealth. Think about the countless people who say they want to start a business, write a book, or travel the world but never take the first step. They talk about their goals with passion, but when it's time to act, they freeze, they hesitate, they stay in the same place, waiting for some kind of magic moment to push them forward. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment, there is no magical sign from the universe. There's just you, your vision, and your ability to take action. I remember hearing about a guy who wanted to be a musician. He had talent, he had songs written down, ideas recorded, and a vision of performing in front of thousands. He told everyone about his dream. One day, I'll be on stage, he'd say. But year after year passed, and he never recorded his first song. He never put himself out there. He never took the uncomfortable leap into the unknown. Why? Because he was waiting for something more. Confidence, more skills, more certainty. But that day never came. Eventually, life caught up to him, responsibilities grew, and the dream faded into a distant what if. Compare that to another guy, a kid who could barely play guitar but had a fire inside of him. He knew he wasn't the best, but he started anyway. He played for hours, uploaded his music online, got rejected over and over, but he kept going. Every day he did something to move forward, wrote another song, played another show, reached out to another producer. Fast forward a few years, and he was living the dream that the other guy only talked about. Why? Not because he was the most talented, not because he was lucky, but because he executed. This is the brutal truth. Dreaming will not get you results, taking action will. Look at any successful person and you'll see the same pattern. They started before they were ready. They didn't know everything. They didn't have all the answers, but they took that first step and then another and another until momentum took over. That's the difference between winners and everyone else. Winners understand that dreams are just blueprints. Execution is what builds the house. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they never take action. They let fear, doubt, and hesitation kill their momentum before they even start. They wait for motivation to strike, not realizing that motivation is a byproduct of action. The more you do, the more motivated you become. The moment you stop overthinking and start doing, that's when the magic happens. Let me tell you a story about a guy named John. John was stuck in a dead-end job, miserable every day, but he had a dream of starting his own business. He spent years reading books, watching videos, and planning. He had vision boards, goal lists, and notebooks filled with ideas. But when it came to execution, he never made a move. He told himself, I'll start next month. I just need to learn a little more. Then one day, a close friend of his, someone his age, launched a business from scratch and within a year was making more than John's annual salary. That hit him hard, not because he was jealous, but because he realized that he had the same opportunity, he just never acted on it. That moment shook him. He made a decision, no more waiting. He launched his business that week. Wasn't perfect, wasn't smooth, but for the first time, he was in the game. And once he got moving, he realized something. All that hesitation, all that waiting for the right moment, it was just fear disguised as preparation. You don't need more time. You don't need more certainty. You need to start. The world rewards action. Every dream that has ever turned into reality came from someone who was willing to get uncomfortable, to step into the unknown, to move forward even when they weren't sure what the next step would be. You don't need to know everything right now, you just need to commit. You see, successful people don't just set goals, they build systems. They create daily habits that force them to execute even when they don't feel like it. They understand that discipline is stronger than motivation, because motivation fades. Some days you won't feel like doing the work. Some days you'll want to quit. That's when discipline takes over. That's when you push forward anyway. There are two types of people in this world, those who dream and those who do. Which one are you? The next time you find yourself imagining success, ask yourself, what action can I take right now to bring this to life? Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. It could be sending that email, making that phone call, writing that first page, filming that first video. Whatever it is, do it. Because the moment you move from dreaming to executing, your life starts to change. No more waiting, no more excuses. Take action now. Success is not for the weak. It is not for the people who want it only when it's convenient, only when they feel inspired, or only when life makes it easy for them. Success is for those who are willing to pay the price. It demands more than just dreams and desires. It demands ruthless action, relentless discipline, and an unwavering commitment to keep pushing forward no matter what stands in the way. Every single person who has achieved greatness has one thing in common. They did what others were unwilling to do. When everyone else was sleeping, they were grinding. When everyone else was partying, they were working. When others gave up at the first sign of struggle, they kept going. Success does not come to those who kind of want it. It comes to those who need it like they need air to breathe, those who refuse to accept anything less. The world does not reward half-hearted efforts. It does not give trophies to those who almost made it. It rewards those who push themselves beyond their limits, those who keep going even when their mind and body scream at them to stop, because that's the real test. What do you do when it gets hard, when no one is clapping for you, when no one believes in you, when the excitement fades and all that's left is the work? Most people quit when things don't go their way. They try for a while, hit a roadblock, and convince themselves it wasn't meant to be. But the winners, the ones who make it, they don't stop. They don't look for an easy way out. They don't need motivation to keep going. They have discipline. And discipline is stronger than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel fired up and some days you won't. But discipline is doing it anyway. Discipline is showing up, putting in the work, and refusing to make excuses. Look at the greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the people who have risen from nothing to build empires. They all had moments where they wanted to quit, moments where they felt exhausted, defeated, drained. But instead of breaking, they doubled down. They trained harder. They worked longer. They sacrificed more. And because of that, they won. There's a story about a boxer who wasn't the strongest, the fastest, or the most naturally gifted, but what made him different was his mindset. He trained harder than anyone else. He woke up before sunrise to run while his competition was still in bed. He practiced until his muscles screamed in pain. He didn't take days off. He didn't wait until he felt like training. He trained no matter what. And because of that, when he stepped into the ring, he didn't just fight. He dominated. His opponents weren't just fighting his strength or his skill. They were fighting against his unbreakable will. They could be faster, they could be stronger, but they would never outwork him. And that's why he became a champion. That's the kind of mindset success. You can't be average and expect to win. You can't do what everyone else is doing and expect extraordinary results. You have to be different. You have to be willing to go all in. People love to talk about their goals. They love to say, I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to get in shape, or I'm going to be successful. But when it's time to put in the work, when it's time to wake up early, grind through the setbacks and push through the pain, they quit. Why? Because they weren't ruthless enough. They didn't want it bad enough. They were interested, but they weren't committed. If you truly want success, you have to get rid of every excuse, every distraction, every comfort that is holding you back. You have to make the decision that nothing will stop you, not pain, not failure, not rejection, not setbacks, because there will be setbacks, there will be failures. There will be days where you feel like you're going nowhere, but that's where discipline separates the winners from everyone else. The disciplined keep going. The disciplined don't give themselves an out. They don't entertain the thought of quitting. There was a businessman who lost everything. His company collapsed, he was buried in debt, and everyone told him to give up, to accept failure. But instead of letting it break him, he rebuilt from the ground up. He worked day and night refining his skills, learning from his mistakes, and refusing to accept defeat. Years later, he wasn't just successful, he was unstoppable. What changed? His mindset, his discipline, his refusal to back down. That's the kind of fire you need. That's the level of commitment success requires. It's not enough to want it. You have to demand it from yourself. You have to be the person who says, I don't care how hard it gets. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if no one believes in me. I will succeed. Most people won't do it. Most people will settle. They'll let distractions, doubts, and fears hold them back. But if you can develop ruthless action and unshakable discipline, you will separate yourself from the pack. You will achieve what others only talk about. You will create a life that most people only dream of. And when you do, when you finally reach the top, you won't just be standing there as someone who got lucky, someone who had talent, someone who had an idea. You'll be standing there as someone who earned it, someone who fought for it, someone who never backed down. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It can be your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. The difference, how you train it. Most people go through life letting their minds control them. They let distractions dictate their actions, emotions determine their decisions, and fear keep them from chasing their dreams. But the ones who succeed, the ones who rise above, are the ones who take control of their mind and rewire it for relentless focus and unstoppable drive. The truth is, your thoughts shape your reality. What you focus on, you create. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't, it's too hard, or I don't have what it takes, then that's exactly what will manifest in your life. But if you shift your mindset and program your brain for success, suddenly doors start opening, obstacles become challenges to conquer, and failure becomes nothing more than a stepping stone toward greatness. Think about elite athletes, world-class entrepreneurs, or anyone who has achieved extraordinary success. Do you think they just woke up one day with an ironclad mindset? No. They built it. They trained their minds the same way they train their bodies. They remove negativity, crush self-doubt, and condition themselves to stay laser focused on their goals. They weren't born different, they became different by taking control of their thoughts. There's a story of a man who was told his whole life that he would never amount to anything. Teachers doubted him, friends dismissed him. He struggled for years, believing he wasn't smart enough, not talented enough, not enough. But one day he made a decision. He was done living with that mindset. He started feeding his mind with success, surrounding himself with people who challenged him, cutting out negativity, and training his brain to focus on possibilities instead of limitations. Within a few years, he built a business that made him a millionaire. Did his circumstances magically change? No, his mind did. Most people never reach their full potential because they never train their mind. They let distractions steal their time, let emotions dictate their actions, and let the opinions of others shape their destiny. They think success is about luck or talent, when in reality it's about mental conditioning. The people who win in life aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to let anything pull them off course. If you want relentless focus, you have to train yourself to block out distractions. Social media, negativity, toxic people, and time-wasting habits, they all rob you of your ability to stay locked in on your mission. Champions don't waste time scrolling mindlessly, complaining, or waiting for motivation. They build habits that keep them on track. They wake up with a plan, execute with precision, and don't let anything pull them away from their goals. Your brain is wired to seek comfort. It's programmed to avoid pain, to chase short-term pleasure, to stay in familiar territory. That's why so many people stay stuck. The second things get uncomfortable, they retreat. They stop pushing. They go back to what's easy. But success doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the grind, in the struggle, in the moments when your mind is screaming at you to quit, but you keep going anyway. You have to reprogram yourself to love the process, to crave the hard work, to embrace the struggle. Because once you train your mind to see challenges as fuel, nothing can stop you. Most people fear failure. They let setbacks break them. But high achievers, they use failure as feedback. They learn, they adapt, they come back stronger. Every time life knocks them down, they get back up hungrier than before. That's the power of a conditioned mind. There was a man who wanted to run a marathon, but had never run more than a mile in his life. The first time he tried, he barely made it 2 miles before collapsing in exhaustion. Most people would have quit. But he didn't. He told himself, I will train my mind to push through. Every day he ran a little farther, fought through the pain, silenced the voice in his head that told him to stop. Eventually he ran the marathon, not because he was the best runner, but because he had built mental endurance. That's what separates the greats from everyone else. Your ability to succeed in anything, business, fitness, relationships, personal growth, depends on how well you control your mind. You can either let it wander, let it be filled with distractions and doubt, or you can train it like a warrior. Every single day you have to make a choice. Let the world dictate your mindset or take full control of it. Winners don't wait for inspiration, they create it. They don't hope for focus, they develop it. Think about this. If you spent the next 6 months feeding your mind only success, eliminating every excuse, refusing to entertain distractions, and attacking your goals with laser focus, where would you be? How different would your life look? You already know the answer. Most people never do it because they lack discipline. They give in to comfort. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. The people who dominate in life are the ones who make the decision now, not later, not someday, but right now, to rewire their mind for focus and drive. You were not born to be average. You were not meant to coast through life, to settle, to accept mediocrity. But if you want something different, you have to think differently. You have to program your brain for success. You have to become so focused, so locked in on your goals that distractions don't even faze you. That's how you win. That's how you rise. That's how you become unstoppable. Excuses are the invisible chains that keep people trapped in the same place year after year, wondering why their life hasn't changed. They wrap around dreams, choke ambition, and paralyze action. Excuses are the comfortable lies people tell themselves to avoid the discomfort of growth. They are the stories crafted to justify why something can't be done instead of finding a way to make it happen. And the sad truth is, most people will live their entire lives imprisoned by their own excuses, never realizing that the key to breaking free has been in their hands all along. Think about the people who inspire you, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, those who have built something extraordinary from nothing. Do you think they never had a reason to quit? You think they never faced adversity, doubt, setbacks, or pain? Of course they did. The difference is that they refused to let those challenges become excuses. They refused to let their circumstances dictate their destiny. Instead, they took control. They found a way. And that is what separates winners from everyone else. Some people will say, I don't have enough time. Yet they spend hours scrolling through their phones, watching TV, or engaging in meaningless conversations. The truth is, it's not about having time. It's about making time for what truly matters. If something is a priority, you will find time for it. If it's not, you will find an excuse. Others will say, I don't have the resources, but history is filled with people who started with nothing and built something incredible. They didn't have money, connections, or experience, but they had something more valuable. Relentless determination. They refused to wait for the perfect moment because they knew it would never come. They started with what they had right where they were and figured the rest out along the way. There was once a man who dreamed of building a business but had no money, no mentors, and no experience. Most people in his situation would have made excuses. They would have said, it's not possible, or I'll try when things are easier. But he didn't. Instead, he took whatever small action he could. He worked nights, sacrificed comfort, and kept pushing forward even when nothing seemed to be working. Slowly, doors started to open, not because he was lucky, not because he had a secret advantage, but because he refused to accept excuses. Today, he's wildly successful, not because he had the best starting point, but because he never let excuses stop him. Some people blame their past. They say, I wasn't born into the right family, or I didn't have the right education. But the past is not a life sentence. It doesn't matter where you start. It only matters where you decide to go. Some of the most successful people in the world came from broken homes, grew up in poverty, or faced unimaginable hardships. They could have let their circumstances become excuses, but instead, they turned their struggles into fuel. They used their pain as motivation, not a crutch. Excuses are seductive. They make failure seem acceptable. They provide a comfortable escape from responsibility, but they also steal everything: opportunities, success, and the life you truly want. Every time you give in to an excuse, you reinforce the habit of quitting. You train your mind to settle for less. You tell yourself that you are powerless when in reality you have all the power you need to change your situation. There's a story of a man who lost everything, his job, his home, his family. He had every reason to give up, every reason to let excuses define his future, but instead he made a choice. He refused to be a victim. He refused to accept that his life was over. With nothing but the clothes on his back, he started working, learning, and rebuilding. It wasn't easy, it wasn't fast, but because he refused to make excuses, he pulled himself out of rock bottom and built a life greater than he had ever imagined. The mind will always look for an easy way out. It will always try to justify inaction, but you have to fight that instinct. You have to recognize that every excuse you make is another chain locking you into mediocrity. If you truly want success, you have to get rid of every single one of them. No more blaming time, circumstances, resources, or people. No more waiting for the right moment. No more telling yourself that you'll start tomorrow. You either make progress or you make excuses. You cannot do both. Success doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care how hard your life has been, how unfair things have seemed, or how difficult your journey is. Success only rewards action. It only comes to those who are willing to push forward no matter what. Imagine what your life could look like if you eliminated every excuse holding you back. Imagine the goals you could achieve, the person you could become, the life you could create. Everything you want is on the other side of your excuses. And the only way to get there is to make the decision right here, right now, to break free. You have two choices in life: make excuses or make progress. But remember this, you cannot do both. Every time you choose an excuse, you choose weakness. Every time you let yourself off the hook, you let your dreams slip further away. But the moment you decide that excuses are no longer an option, the moment you commit to doing whatever it takes, that's when everything changes. Nobody is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you success. No one is going to knock on your door and say, here's the life of your dreams. If you want something, you have to go out and take it. You have to earn it. And that means doing the hard work even when you don't feel like it. It means showing up when you're tired, pushing through when it hurts, and refusing to let any excuse hold you back. Excuses are for those who accept mediocrity, for those who settle, for those who are okay with being average. But you are not okay with being average. You are not someone who was born to live a life of regrets. You are not someone who was meant to sit on the sidelines, watching others succeed while you wonder what could have been. Think about this. If you quit now, you'll end up right back where you first started. And the question is, do you really want to live your life knowing you gave up on your potential? Do you really want to look back years from now, realizing you let your own excuses stop you from becoming the person you were meant to be? There will always be reasons to stop, always. Life will test you, challenge you, try to break you. There will be setbacks, failures, disappointments. But here's the truth. Pain is temporary, regret lasts forever. The struggle you are facing today, it will pass. But the regret of not trying, of not giving it your all, of allowing your own mind to hold you back, that will stay with you for the rest of your life. Winners don't listen to excuses. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They get up, they fight back, they grind harder than anyone else. They don't stop when they're tired, they stop when they're done. Every single second you spend making an excuse is a second you could be spending building your future. Every moment you spend saying, I'll start tomorrow, is another moment lost. And let me tell you something. There is no tomorrow. There is no perfect time. The time is now. You weren't born to live a life of excuses. You weren't put on this earth to just exist. You were meant for more. You were meant to break barriers, to achieve greatness, to prove to yourself and the world that nothing can stop you. So I ask you, what are you waiting for? What more do you need? The motivation, the sign? This is your sign. This is your moment. No more waiting. No more second guessing. No more living in the chains of your own excuses. Stand up, take action, own your life. Because if you don't, someone else will. If you don't chase your dreams, someone else will hire you to help build theirs. If you don't break free from your excuses, you will live every single day in the same cycle, stuck, frustrated, wondering why nothing changes. But if you take control, if you decide that today is the day you refuse to be a prisoner to your own thoughts, then nothing will be able to stop you. You are powerful beyond measure. You are capable of extraordinary things, but only if you refuse to let excuses steal your future. So from this moment forward, no more excuses, no more waiting, no more fear. The world belongs to those who dare to take it. And if you want it, go get it.